All right, guys, so we got to talk about the squad in the left being outraged about a couple pictures that Republican Representative Thomas Massie and Lauren Boebert posted on social media. Now, these pictures are of them and their family, including their kids, holding guns, okay? And the left has gotten all bent out of shape about this. Now, this is happening on the tail of what happened with the school shooting in Michigan involving a high school student by the name of Ethan Crumbley, and is also following some comments that Lauren Boebert made about Ilhan Omar, right? And is also following some comments that Lauren Boebert made about Ilhan Omar, right? Now, I've done a video about that in the past. And again, the left is finding outrage over this, so much so that they're trying to censure and strip Lauren Boebert of her congressional duties, right? Now, before I get into this video, I want to make it clear, okay? I'm not endorsing anything that anybody said, okay? I'm not really even defending it. I am simply calling out the hypocrisy of the left on this issue, because for the life of me, I really can't believe that they're out here basically trying to go after Lauren Boebert for things that they do, right, on the left, the exact same things they do, and also basically accusing her of things that she has not done, but they do. So before we get in this, I want to play a couple clips. First, I want to play a clip from Joy Reid discussing this, and then after that, I want to play a clip from squad member Cori Bush that I really want to respond to, because I have a whole lot to say about what she said. Take a look.
Now, and as Representative Ayanna Pressley stated, it is a shame that it's taken so long. It is a shame that she, a Black woman, is now having to step in for other Black women and other people of color to make the workspace safe for them, to call this out and demand the accountability that we know Representative Boebert deserves.
And Steve, Lauren Boebert she's not dissuaded by the criticism. She's encouraged by it. She's trying to compete with Congressman Massie, tweeting out her little Christmas pack of her little children holding firearms, which somebody should call, Child Protective Services, because, I know a lot of people have guns. I grew up around people with guns. Yeah, people don't do that. Okay, this is not
weird.
The way. It is not. It is a weird cosplay of violence. It's literally saying, you think I'm violent? She's calling Congressman Omar a terrorist, but she's the one cosplaying terroristic behavior.
Show this country that we firmly stand against Islamophobia and that we will protect Rep. Omar and the livelihoods and the lives of Muslim communities around this country. If we're serious about tackling the systems of entrenched white supremacy that stain every fiber of this country, then we need to start right here, right in this Capitol. We need to start with this lying, Islamophobic, race-baiting, violence-inciting, white supremacist sentiment spreading, Christmas tree gun-toting elected official who is out here straight up calling her colleagues terrorists. Lauren Boebert is a danger to this country. She is a danger to the Muslim staffers that work here. She is a danger to her fellow members of Congress. Removing her from her committees is the least leadership can do to protect every employee, visitor, and member of this body. While I definitely wish we didn't have to keep coming back assembling every few weeks to do this, once again, Black and brown women are carrying the water for this country, for the rest of our country, by urging leadership to act to keep us safe. We stand here today united in calling for immediate consideration of our legislation to remove Lauren Boebert from all of her committee assignments.
All right, so I got a whole lot to kind of say in response to those two clips, right? The first one with Joy Reid. I find it interesting how she's sitting here having a conversation with Steve Schmidt, who is somebody that was in charge of the Lincoln Project, a entity that has been, all the founders, right? His co-founder has been accused of all types of crazy stuff, right? Again, Democrats don't really give a damn about who they associate themselves with. And then she also tries to make the claim, well, people don't do this, right? People don't pose with guns like this. Like, this is irresponsible. This is terroristic behavior, right? And again, I find it fascinating how she's outraged about this Christmas photo that Lauren Boebert posted. However, there's never any outrage about the imagery that we see literally every single day coming from rappers, coming from people who pose with guns, right, in ways that don't really seem to be all that safe, right, and put out messages that encourage violence against people in their own communities, okay? You guys all know what I'm talking about. You guys can all imagine it in your head, right? All the images we see, all these rappers going out here posing with these guns, a lot of them acquired illegally. And I wouldn't necessarily call them responsible gun owners either. So they take pictures of this stuff every single day, put it out here, they push it on youth and children. And then the youth and these children go out here and they commit acts of violence against other people, a large amount of whom are black. But yet Joy Reid has never, ever, ever once on her show brought up that issue and said, this is terroristic behavior. Even though this behavior directly results in the loss of black lives. But Black Lives Matter, though. We care about black folks, right? We care about black people. But yet she's silent on that. You have a problem with Lauren Boebert taking pictures with guns with her family, with her children, okay? She's in the presence of her children. She's not telling them to use the guns, okay? She's not putting out any messages of violence or anything like that, right? You can argue that it was ill-timed, that it might have been something that she might have wanted to wait a little bit longer to post, okay? You can make that argument. But she's not pushing messages of violence. So that's terroristic behavior. But again, you have these rappers out here taking pictures and imageries with guns and basically encouraging people in their lyrics and their music to use it against their own people, other black folks. But that's not terroristic behavior. Silence on that. Again, I find it amazing what these people choose to be outraged about and what they choose not to be outraged about. They're not outraged about things that actually result in the loss of lives, okay? Now on to Cori Bush, who probably is the biggest hypocrite in the world, in my opinion, especially with that little speech that she gave, right? She has a problem with Lauren Boebert and her comments about Ilhan Omar, right? And calling people terrorists, right? However, she has no issues calling people white supremacists, okay? So you have an issue. You're outraged about somebody calling somebody a terrorist, okay? And I get why you would be outraged by that, right? I don't think that we should just be willy-nilly calling people terrorists, right? I agree with that, okay? But you're not outraged about calling people white supremacists. You're calling her a white supremacist. And not only do you call her a white supremacist, you call everybody a white supremacist. Everything that comes out of your mouth is about white supremacy. You would think from listening to Cori Bush talk that she believes that every white person is a white supremacist. I actually do believe that she feels that way. Okay? So again, according to her, calling your colleagues terrorists, not okay. But calling your colleagues white supremacists is okay, right? Even though you don't really have any evidence to suggest that any of the people that she's calling white supremacists are actually white supremacists. Now, also on top of that, I find it funny how she has this problem with calling people terrorists all willy-nilly. However, she's silent on the issue of the FBI and the Biden administration trying to label parents, some of whom are black, that speak up at these school board meetings about their children's education, terrorists, right? She was silent on the issue. She had nothing to say about that. You have nothing to say about FBI and the Department of Justice and the Biden administration labeling parents as terrorists, but now all of a sudden you have a problem about what Lauren Boebert said about Ilhan Omar. Again, somebody make it make sense for me, right? It's almost like all this stuff is performative, okay? That they're outraged because they see it as a political opportunity, not that they're outraged on the principle, okay? Because they're totally fine with labeling people derogatory terms when they agree with it. But if somebody labels them something, oh, they want to boo-hoo and cry about it. When again, she throws around the label white supremacists all day long, right? That's basically the only word in her vocabulary, it seems. Then she wants to talk about Islamophobia, okay? And protecting Muslims. But again, these people, not just her, the whole squad, they've been silent on China, right? Even Biden has spoke up a little bit about what's going on in China with the Uyghurs, right? And how they're being treated. But the squad, they haven't said anything. They have nothing to say. They're silent on that issue. I wonder why. Maybe it's because they like communism, right? They agree with China politically on some things, right? Maybe that's it. I don't know. You tell me. But again, I just find it fascinating what these people choose to be outraged about and what they don't choose to be outraged about. And the reason why is because, again, these people simply are just not acting on principle, right? I've stated this 1,000 times, but I do it to prove a point. In principle, right? Hey, I disagree with political violence, okay? I think that we should tone down the rhetoric to a certain extent on both sides. We should tone down the rhetoric. That's why I said what happened on January 6th was bad. But what also was bad, and arguably, in my opinion, worse, is what happened all last year with the BLM protests and riots and Antifa stuff. Okay? So me trying to act on principle here, being against political violence, I can condemn both and say both were wrong. But these people on the left, they will never condemn what happened last year. They'll never do it. They'll never acknowledge it. But they'll sit here and talk about political violence all day when it comes to January 6th and labeling people terrorists based off their skin color and their political affiliation. No problems using that word when it comes to labeling those people, right? They don't have no issues with that because, again, to them, it's not about the principle. They don't care about political violence as long as they agree with it. They're totally fine with it. Just like they're fine with labeling people derogatory terms with no evidence whatsoever as long as they agree with it. That's why they're always using the word white supremacist all day. They're cool with it. And to me, what really makes the situation so bad, in my opinion, is the fact that Lauren Boebert attempted to apologize. Okay, she reflected on what she said, and she realized that what she said wasn't right. That's why she issued an apology to the Muslim community. She said, yeah, what I said wasn't right. I shouldn't be doing that. And then she attempted to call Ilhan Omar personally and apologize to her. However, Ilhan Omar had no intent on actually accepting an apology, no matter what Miss Lauren Boebert said. And I said that from the get-go in my last video, that Lauren Boebert probably made a mistake because the squad used Lauren Boebert trying to apologize as a way to make themselves out to be victims, right? To keep the drama going. Because Ilhan Omar could have simply just said, hey, you know what? I accept your apology. Let's move on. Okay, let's be done with this. Let's tone it down. Okay? That's what she could have said. But that's not what she said. Again, she took it as an opportunity, a political opportunity, to cast herself as a victim. And then here we are with this clown show going on. Okay? Again, these are pots trying to call the kettle black. That's what they are. They have no room whatsoever to talk about condoning political violence, wrongfully labeling people, derogatory terms, racism. Let's talk about the whole race thing real quick. I have not heard anything racialized from Lauren Boebert or Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? I haven't heard anything that you can characterize as racist from them. But I've heard a whole lot of things that you can characterize as racist from the squad, right? Especially Cori Bush. And in my opinion, when the Republicans take control of the House again, they need to censure/remove the committee assignments of everybody in the squad, right? Any one of them, especially Cori Bush, who's accused anybody of being a white supremacist, that have condoned any type of political violence, right? Censure them, strip their committee assignments, right? They stripped Marjorie Taylor Greene's committee assignments for something that she said when she wasn't even in Congress. Just do it, because that will teach them a lesson that, hey, you can't just start stripping people of their committee assignments and censuring them for petty little nonsense just because you have power, because that's what the Democrats are doing. And they're simply putting on a show. They don't even really care about it in principle. They don't care about it in principle. They're simply doing it as a political show. They're doing it so they can get sympathy tears from the media and to act like, oh, they're victims. When again, they're really just the pot calling the kettle black. They do the exact same things, except, I think they're the ones that are actually racist. Okay? That's really the biggest difference. Because Cori Bush, in my opinion, is the biggest racist in Congress that nobody ever calls out. So, like I said, man, this type of stuff is really getting old, but it really annoys me. The things that the left, they choose to be outraged about, and the things they don't choose to be outraged about. That's what really kills me the most about this. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.